I wanted to conclude my thought on self preservation in terms of don't mix your drinks continued. Sorry about that. I've been getting disturbed a lot lately during shooting. Um, I want to define self preservation by using a television show, Canada's Worst Driver. The host, Andrew Young husband, says people have collisions on the passenger side when they are driving in order to preserve themselves. And if you look very carefully, it happens when the student drivers do the obstacle course known as thread the eye of the needle. My apologies. And it's very important to note this. Self preservation is a natural thing. But because our parents are our first teachers, they will then innately show you what you should be anxious for, what you should protect yourself against from. And this is amplified when it comes to disability because the parents, in some cases, know as little as the doctors do. So when it comes to drinking, driving, and a night out, and indeed going for your driver's license, you could perform perfectly in the yard. But because maybe you struggle with dyslexia and directions and all of that, and your parents are kind of old school, they don't like using the GPS and they want you to know the road by rope, they will then trigger that insecurity, that anxiety. You, as the parent, must know this. You trigger that insecurity, that anxiety inadvertently. This is not knocking parenthood. It's very difficult when there's an added step to the parenting. Um, However, it must be acknowledged that parents can sometimes trigger and own the reasons for anxiety. So your wording must at all times be positive. Your wording must all times be inspiring. I had a driving instructor who, to this day, the words still resonate in my head. You belong on the road. The car's adapted. You've got a learner's license. You belong on the road. Go for it. You're moving too slow for fourth gear. Step on a driver. Change the lane, driver. Positive language. I know it is always easier as a form of self preservation for the child to speak in a punitive manner. I'll hit you. I'll spank you. You're not doing this again. But remember, as much as I know as a trainer, it is difficult for you to see your child as an older person. It's time you need to start realizing it. But it can be very difficult. You need to put in the programming, and you put the programming on such a way that the child then can update their own mental software. I often use this analogy with women with disabilities or women in general. I say your mother taught you to wipe your vagina in a certain way, whether you fold it, whether you fold the toilet paper over twice, whether you just have one big what, and then you decide what works better for you. Yeah. But I think that's where I'm gonna leave it. This video will be titled "Don't Mix Your Drinks Continued."